Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Badass Marketing. I'm once again joined by the ever so lovely Angela Dunz. Angela, how are you?
I'm doing well today. I'm really glad it's the end of the week.
I hear you. I hear you. There's only 2 more days of the work week, right?
Yes, before we start another one seamlessly
Exactly.
again.
Again. So what are we talking about today?
Well, today I thought we'd talk about video. I mean, we're talking about content all the time. What about content that has a visual aspect to it, the video?
I'm going to share with our audience that before we launched into this, when we were talking about topics, we did mention that we were going to talk about video, and Angela was kind enough to tell me that we don't use video that much, or I don't use video that much. And I'm like, that's all we do is just talk to you on video. So with
Blindside. It's a
that, yes, let's
blindside.
talk about video, right? Because some people do use it. Apparently not me, but some people do use video.
And, in my humble opinion, what I have found, and I'm an introvert, I didn't come to video easily, that's for sure. But
Hmm.
video is still, if you're talking about social media, if you're talking about the digital platform, the fastest way to know, like, and trust is through a video. People can quickly decide whether they like you or they don't like you. And I think that it's a great sorting hat. It's a great way to find those quality clients, those ones that are really your people.
Yeah, and I mean it's really interesting because I've very often told stories about back in the day, when we were young. God knows it was at the
Did that
30s, the 40s,
exist?
whatever that was. But and we did business on the phone, right? Way back when, again, really a long time ago, which is just sad. But yeah, we did business on the phone. And, I remember I worked at a bank, and I had a regular daily conversation with another office on the phone, spoke to this woman for close to 4 years without ever having met her in person, and had zero visual, right? So in my mind, I had a visual, sort of like when you're reading a book, you create something for the character, but I sort of had a visual. And then I met the woman in person at, like at a Christmas party or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, that's so not what I was expecting. So video does give you some instant familiarity with, the folks that you're trying to reach. People do get to see you. They realize that you wear old t-shirts and can't be bothered to brush your hair this morning. Those types of things do convey on the video, unfortunately. For those of you who are reading the podcast, I am dressed very professionally. For those of you who have the visual, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
But and then you also get the voice, you get the visual. So that does give you, a lot more to work with as far as getting to know people and having people get to know you, know, like, and trust. So it's a great format. The other thing about video, and I'll, sort of just throw this out there, and then we can sort of delve into different areas, is video is about the easiest way to consume content on the planet, right? We do it all the time. We watch
Amen.
YouTubes. I don't have to read. I don't have to, do anything but hit play. And, and then I can pause it. I can, delete it, whatever I want to do, but it's a genuinely easy way to disseminate content. And, folks who just don't want to read, don't want to, whatever, video is a very good solution. And then one more point before we move on is, we are advocates for Omnichannel. So I don't know if they want to read it. I don't know if they want to listen to a podcast. I don't know if they want to see my lovely face, maybe your lovely face, and this, whatever it might be. But rather than trying to figure out what is the best medium for trying to reach somebody, we just go omni-channel, right? We do put this on YouTube. We put this on Spotify as a podcast. We put it on the blog. We post a summary of the conversation. We don't post the full transcripts anymore because those are huge and a lot of work.
Yes.
So we post the summary of the highlights, which is usually more than you need. You don't need to read the summaries to pick up every the and like and other filler words that apparently I use, which is a problem, but we won't go there. So that gives you an opportunity to just go omni-channel rather than trying to figure out what is the best medium for an audience. Just put it out everywhere, and video is another opportunity to further capitalize on an omni-channel approach to marketing.
Exactly. So let's talk about what you should do videos about and how long they should be.
So do you have any insights into how long they should be?
I do. And
I
maybe
figured
I
you
should
might.
I should probably just start by saying LinkedIn has this really confusing relationship with video. I've read lots of statistics that say that CEOs and executives are 70% more likely to watch a video because they don't have a lot of time. And if it's a 90-second video, they can consume content very quickly and get a feel for someone. But LinkedIn really doesn't promote video at all. And the other thing that people might want to take into account is that if you post a link to a YouTube channel, that is not something that's going to go very far on LinkedIn because you're actually taking them away from the LinkedIn platform and pushing them over to YouTube. So if you're sharing YouTube videos, you want to download them from YouTube and upload them directly into LinkedIn. They're going to get a little bit more of a push from LinkedIn and the algorithms.
So I'm going to respond to that because I have some different sort of thoughts on that.
Great, please.
I think that they're not going to get visibility from organic, right? So if you're using this for search and you're putting the video, I agree with you that LinkedIn isn't going to promote something that moves you to another platform. However, if you already have an existing audience, such as a group, I believe that you will get a fair amount of visibility, even with the YouTube embedded YouTube or whatnot, because these are people who are already following your content regardless. They're not, this isn't going to be an organic find. This is going to be someone who's already opted in. The other challenge when it comes to video and LinkedIn is LinkedIn has a limitation as to how long the video can be, which
Yes.
for most of us, I can't seem to, comply with that. It's too short. What is is it
10
15?
minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. So,
10.
Right. 10. Right. So, we typically produce, this program typically runs anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. So we would need to then take this video, chop it up into 4 or 5 pieces, link it, so that you'd have to watch, a section, then go watch the next section. I already know that's too much work, right? That,
Yes.
you know what I mean? So, and that's sort of why we don't use the direct LinkedIn video ourselves, because most of our content exceeds the that 10-minute window that they provide. And we're also omni-channel, so we're putting it on other places. So our audience that does follow us on LinkedIn, we love you, thank you very much. Like, love, and do whatever you do below.
Please.
But we know that you're probably not going to find us organically because LinkedIn's not going to promote something that but LinkedIn, when you play the video on LinkedIn, it doesn't take you off the platform.
Not
So,
exactly.
but I do get that it's they're not going to promote a Google product when they would promote their own. However, in my experience, the 10-minute limitation is not something that is very workable for us. And then we put it everywhere else. So what's interesting is, and this is completely different as well, is that's the same mentality. We produce a newsletter where we link out to things. And that would be the same mentality, as we probably shouldn't do that. However, the information that, we have a pretty strong following, and as a result, people do read the newsletter despite us linking out, which wouldn't, so they're not finding us organically that way, but our existing audience appreciates those links. Whereas, if we were producing that newsletter solely for organic search, we shouldn't be using those links.
Yeah, and I have a completely different take on that also. I don't mind people going to my YouTube channel. In fact, that's what I want them to do. I'd love them to get lost on my YouTube channel. I have 109 videos there, and seriously, you can find out just about
How many
everything
of them
you
have
need.
cats?
Probably there's probably some video bombs of cats. I'm not gonna promise that there aren't.
Okay.
They are great video bombers. Um, very distracting video bombers. Um, but I have gotten a couple of clients because they got lost on my YouTube channel. They
Hmm.
actually found a webinar someplace and they get a hold of me back on LinkedIn and say, I just watched such and such video or your whole playlist for something or another. How can we work together? I've gotten some great clients from that. So what drives business for me is driving people to my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and for us, we just put it everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on, Spotify, it's on Apple, it is here on LinkedIn or wherever you're watching this. It's on our website. We share that with social media. So, again, we don't try to figure out where you're at. We just put it so that if you're there, we're gonna hopefully show up. You know, we'll see. But again, for me, that 10-minute window is a tough one on LinkedIn.
Right. And so for my clients who are actually using video as part of their content strategy, I really recommend that they use 90-second videos and drive traffic to a landing page, your website, an infographic, whatever it is. Their strategy is more, here's who I am and here's what I do. They're giving people an opportunity to develop an emotional relationship, a connection with them in a short video, and only really mentioning a little topic, something that they can provide some clarity on that's going to provide value for their audience.
What other algorithm statistics for LinkedIn do you have for us? I know you have a couple.
Oh boy. Well, Uh, there's lots of things that are changing right now with the algorithms. Over the summer, LinkedIn decided that they were going to start experimenting with hashtags. So they basically deleted hashtags from the whole algorithms. And they're just very slowly experimenting with different types of algorithms that are connected to the hashtags. October 1st, supposedly, they're supposed to be bringing hashtags on, but it's going to be a completely different thing. Richard Bliss, who is one of the authors of the algorithm report, told me on Tuesday the report is going to be about a month late because LinkedIn did all this gutting of the algorithms in August and September, and they're still trying to get a handle on what's going on. So that report usually comes out the end of September or October. He said it's going to be the end of November or possibly December because they do lots of research. They do ad nauseum research, and they have about 1,000 people involved in that so that they can look at what's going on with video. But Richard said
And that's
video
really
is,
frustrating because most of us are
yes,
going into Q4, which is the big holiday push. And we're looking for
yes,
visibility. We're looking for, especially if we're have anything to do with retail, and for them to sort of change up the algorithm right before the holidays, like, really,
right.
this was the best time to do this.
It's pretty annoying. Well, here's the bottom
Yeah.
line on the algorithms right now. LinkedIn is putting up a big, big fight against virality and broetry. Are you familiar with broetry, Mike? It's pretty
I
simple.
am. Yeah, but
There's
please
there's
share.
Oh my God. So there are a certain number of people who are really trying to capitalize on dwell time. Dwell time is how long it takes to actually read a post. So they'll put a single line and a space and a single line and a space. So it takes you an awfully long time. They don't say anything. But they get you because if you want to find the content, you're going to keep reading. There isn't anything there. But that is lovingly termed as broetry.
Yeah,
It's,
what's interesting is those ads will come up in like the news feeds, and it's like, and then it's like 100 pages later to get to like the point. Like you have to scroll, and basically all they've done is increased page views, and yet that you have there's what could have been a 1 or 2 line answer to whatever the clickbait was is 10 to 20 pages later.
it's a huge discourtesy. It's really,
Well, but it's a way to
it's a
inflate
tactic.
their numbers. Yeah,
It is a
because
tactic.
what that shows the algorithms is, oh look, somebody read 10 pages,
Yeah.
or
And
dwell time, or spent or they spent longer, which is part of the metrics on the algorithm, is how much time do people spend on your page. So if you sort of artificially create this dwell time, you're just trying to game the system, which means that the people writing the algorithms will recognize that and do a workaround to fix that in time.
yeah. And carousels are another one that,
Yeah.
once you hit that arrow and go to the next pane, dwell time kicks in. So
Right.
that's another one that people take advantage of. Now, some people are putting out some great carousels. You just have to know who the people are that are taking advantage of the system and who aren't. So LinkedIn is really trying to eliminate the broetry and virality. Their head of editing said, if you want to go viral, get off of LinkedIn. That's basically what he said. What they're really pushing these days is comments. They want your content to start a conversation. And I think video is a really great way to really encourage a conversation. You're right there. Your beautiful or ugly mug is right there. Um, People are a couple inches away from it, honestly, a foot or so. They're developing some sort of a relationship with you. So take advantage of that and start a conversation.
Yeah, but you also have to think about, why do they not want virality? Because what's the alternative to that?
Well, they're trying to eliminate it being a popularity contest. No, they want somebody to
No,
pay for ads.
they want visibility, and the way to get visibility on LinkedIn is to pay. So, let's cut through it, right? They will tell you that, oh, like, we don't want it to be a social platform yet. What they want to do is they want to drive you to buy ads, because
Well, and
without, if I hit big with a viral post, I get free.
right, it's organic reach, and organic reach is still the most effective.
And an organic reach, is not their business model. Their
Right.
business model is
They
for
don't
you
get
for paid search.
anything from that.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, let's call it what it is. Their desire is to sell more ads. I mean, that is not unlike Facebook, where, if you post something, somewhere in the neighborhood of less than 2% of your audience will actually get that in their feed.
Right.
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 For the same reason as they would like, well, if you want to reach 10,000 people, click here and we'll boost your post, but then that's a paid feature. So these platforms, they may tell you that altruistic, oh, we just don't want it to be a social media platform. What they want in reality is they want you to buy an ad or use a paid feature to promote your content.
And
So
the reality of that is, if you're a solo or a small business, the ad thing is really not affordable on
right,
LinkedIn. It just isn't. If unless you have $3,000 a month to throw away,
right.
it's not really an effective platform for you to be doing ads. Now, boosting something on Facebook is much more efficient, but if your audience isn't on Facebook, then there you go. That's not an opportunity.
And in our opinion, the way around this, to some degree, and it's not an absolute, but to some degree, is to build a group. because you can get visibility. And I shouldn't say this out loud because apparently LinkedIn will go and change that. But presently, if you post it, if you have a following in a group, they do see it. And our biggest engagement when it comes to LinkedIn is on our groups more than anywhere else, is on the
Yeah.
groups.
And LinkedIn has been trying to kill groups forever, and the backlash has always been so incredible that they haven't done it. And I
Hmm.
think they've finally come to terms with the idea that groups are just not going to go away. They're just going to be a part of it.
But if you're looking for organic reach, we would say use the groups. If you're looking for reach, then you need to pay for it. It's just, that's the nature of the platform. It's the nature most of all the platforms, I think, with the exception of Instagram, which is a different animal. But you get no visibility on Facebook unless you pay for it. And I think that LinkedIn is not, is focused on the same thing. They have to generate revenue. That's their business model.
When you post something, that in that very first hour, they present it to about 10% of whatever your network size is. So if you have 500 people in your network, that's a very small number. If you have 5,000 people in your network, it's a significantly larger number. And then
And
they
then based on
decide,
the initial engagement, they will figure out
yes,
whether they will share more
and
of
the
it. Right.
quality of that engagement. Likes are
Right.
cheap. Comments are, something that starts a conversation that is much more valuable.
Right. And much more difficult to achieve. Like, it's sort of like the
Yes.
viral aspect. You can't plan. I mean, you can plant the seeds to encourage a conversation. But, people do or don't comment based on, whether they want to or not, or, so.
So if you're posting video and you want to start a conversation, you really have to make it something that's a little bit more provocative or value oriented. So some of the good things to use video for is to make a bold statement of some kind, really stake a claim in thought leadership. If things like answering frequently asked questions are still super popular, but they're less likely to start a conversation.
Yeah,
So
because you resolved whatever they were looking for by answering the question.
right. So asking a question, getting people to think, something that's a little bit more controversial or provocative or along the lines of thought leadership are much more effective. But, I'm still going to say algorithms from LinkedIn say the most popular videos are still how to. So LinkedIn has this very strange relationship with video, because
Well,
if
I
you look
mean,
at the
the reality with the algorithm is that there's, thousands of components that are weighed differently. And, so, there's no one thing that the algorithm is going to look at and say, oh, that's the magic bullet that's going to make you visible. It's, when did you post it? What was the reaction? Did they comment? Did they like? I mean, like, all these are factors that will contribute to what the algorithm does with your content.
right.
And many, many more factors that we haven't even delved into, all go into, their algorithm as to what they think is the best content to promote. I mean, what's interesting for me is I get a somewhat regular request from LinkedIn to comment, I get oh, you're an expert in your field. Like, okay, whatever. Thanks. And then, they want me to comment on LinkedIn's post. So it's somebody that is,
Yes.
a
The
LinkedIn editor.
collaborative articles.
Right. And they want me to post, so they are, reaching out and saying, please post comments on our own articles, because, in order to sort of address what you said about the need for comments, even on their own stuff, that, they're reaching out and saying comment, because that raises the visibility of that article in their own algorithms.
Right, right. And I have not heard of anybody having a lot of success with the collaborative articles. There was a
No,
huge
no. Well, I know someone who has success with the collaborative articles.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Because with the collaborative articles, what they've done is they've done the very thing that you say you need, which is to generate comments. So anybody who wants to sort of like hope to get some visibility will make a comment, and then, of course they reach, they have a reach much bigger than my audience because they're LinkedIn. So they will get hundreds and hundreds of comments on everything, which then post that way, that will cause that to skyrocket because, people are engaged because they're trying to get their own visibility.
Right, right.
So
And
there is
I
a
think
benefit. It's for LinkedIn.
right, right. And I think the benefit for individuals who do comment is so much work that it's really not, it's prohibitive.
I mean, I have commented, and I have never received, anything as a result of commenting on those, those types of posts. It just, I
Yeah.
haven't gotten
And
it.
in the 2 months that I've seen I've been watching it for 2 months because they did a big summit and they got a bunch of LinkedIn influencers all excited about these collaborative articles and what they were capable of doing. So there for a while, you would see notifications all the time. So-and-so commented on a collaborative article. And I have just not seen, I've seen all of that drop off almost completely. And I haven't heard of anyone getting any kind of traction from those collaborative articles. So it's once again,
LinkedIn
LinkedIn
gets traffic, gets
not
traction.
understanding how their users use LinkedIn.
Right. I mean, you just can't like I've always said, and this is not anything that I've created. So, but follow the money, right? LinkedIn tells you why they're doing these things. And like, yeah, okay, that's nice, but the reality is, you are a for-profit platform that requires, people to buy ads. And therefore, if you want visibility on a for-profit platform, that means you need to spend money. It's just, if you want to show up in Google, you need to buy an ad. If you want to show up in Facebook, you need to buy an ad. If you want to show up in LinkedIn, you need to buy an ad. It's the nature of their revenue model.
Yes. Well, and only 20% of their revenue comes from ads. 80% of their revenue comes from premium, some version of premium.
But is that not, that's still a paid product?
It is. It is a
So
paid
I mean,
product and it does affect your content. It
right.
does.
And so I mean, I will, I will revise that. Okay. You don't need ads, you need a paid product, whether it be ads or premium or jobs, whatever their paid job, product is. You need to buy one of their paid products to get visibility. So you're right. It's not just ads, but you can get that through, their premium subscription, things like that. But what we're talking about is for visibility purposes, it's going to be a paid product.
Right. Right. And there are lots of different layers to that. There are actually 4 layers. There's the job seeker, there's the business pro, there's sales navigator, and there's recruiter.
Right. And then there's ads, like just flat out ads.
Right. And lots of different levels of ads. Retargeting is the most effective. So you start with an organic campaign, you find out what works, and then you retarget.
Right. And then, so you pay to boost the content that is working for you. You know what I mean? And, it really basically comes down to if you're going to pay for something, then you really, really need to understand the ROI and really need to track it, because you can spend a lot of money on, and many of us have spent a lot of money on advertising with nothing to show for it. So our recommendation when it comes to anything that's paid is to make sure that you understand whether or not that paid product is making you money. We know it's making LinkedIn money, and we know it's making the other platforms money, which is fine. But you as the payee need to understand whether or not, if you're going to spend $100, what are you going to get back from it? And if you do spend $100, then measure it, track it, understand that, so that, you can understand whether or not your content spend and, is, especially your paid spend, is generating a return.
Right. And you want to have a very well-tested funnel so that if there are steps through it, you know that it's going to work and the content is going to, the calls to action actually lead to
result in something. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So, again, just to sort of summarize, because I know we're going to wrap up today a little short because we were pressed for time, but video is a great platform. It's very easy to digest. You can just passively sit back and just let us talking heads go on and on and on. Not on too much, because apparently if we exceed 10 minutes, then we can't post it directly on LinkedIn. So we post it on YouTube or something like that. But it's an easy platform, or it's an easy, format for people to digest. So people like it, and it's very popular. Again, we don't try to figure out what's the, whether you want to watch content or read or whatever. We just put it all out there and let you sort through that mess. So, we just go with an omni-channel approach. The reality is, and I think maybe we went down a little bit of a path, but the reality is that if you want visibility, it's probably going to be a paid product in order on these platforms, because the nature of them is they want to promote their platform, and in order to do that, it needs to be a paid product. So some of the ways that we get some visibility is things like groups. We get some visibility through groups and stuff like that. But if you're looking for the viral success, that's not happening. You need to pay and buy a product. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree in the least. But video really, I don't want anyone to think that you shouldn't be posting video. It's easy entry. It doesn't cost that much for you to start doing video. You need a ring light or outdoor lighting. That's great. And your iPhone, because the reality of that is most of us don't want to see highly overproduced video. We want to see candid, real video. And so it's
And that's what we
super
supply: candid, real video. It doesn't get any more real than this. We don't even brush our hair some morning. So yeah.
it's easy entry. I mean, the topics are endless, especially if you start with frequently asked questions and really some of the basics about what it is that you do, your origin story. There's so many different things that client success stories, lots of things that you can use for video. And there is no faster way on the digital platform to know, like, and trust than video.
And then couple that with all of your other marketing and networking activities. We are big fans and advocates for networking, in-person networking, referral marketing, all those types of things. And some of the best things to do, if I can't give you a direct lead, well, then maybe I'll interview you on our blog post, on our podcast, so that I can at least give you some visibility. So one of the things that we will offer folks in our network is come on our show, talk to us, and we'll give you some visibility, and that is something we can offer to our network partners, to bring that to the table, and they appreciate it, and they like to be on the screen time. Who doesn't like screen time? So that's another way to give back to your network, is by doing these interviews, doing these podcasts, spotlighting your customers, spotlighting a business, those types of things. And video is the perfect platform for that.
Yes, excellent point, Mike. That's a great addition.
Well, we appreciate you watching. We hope you like, comment, leave lots of comments so that we just fly up the top of LinkedIn, and
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But we appreciate you watching. We appreciate your attention. If you like what you do see, please seriously just give us a like, give us a comment. Apparently, give us a comment, say something. We'll try to say something very I don't know. We'll have to come up with something next time that people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that.
Provocative or promotional.
It might be time to bring out the cats.
It'd be hard to wake them up right now.
Well, Anyway, have a great week, Angela. A joy as ever, and we will see everybody next week for another edition of Badass Marketing.
Bye, Mike. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Take care.